Well, both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have easily won primaries held in 5 states yesterday.
This as Trump doubled down on some controversial comments he made earlier this week. Let's get right to Good Day's Robert Moses. He joins us in studio with more. Robert, good morning.
Shani and Dan, good morning to you. The current and former presidents have already clinched the nominations, so let the war of words ensue. Referencing the former president's controversial comments about Jews, a spokesman for Joe Biden said the only person who should be ashamed is Donald Trump. But from the sounds of it, the former president is not. Former President Donald Trump won resounding victories in the 5 states that held primaries yesterday: Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio. President Joe Biden did the same, except in Florida, which canceled its Democratic primary and decided to give him all of its 224 delegates. The former president picked up a separate win in Ohio. His hand-picked candidate for Senate there, Bernie Moreno, won the Republican primary and will face Democrat Sherrod Brown in the fall in a race that could flip the Senate. Moreno is a former car dealer and political neophyte. The Associated Press recently reported that back in 2008, someone who had access to his email account made a profile on an adult website seeking, quote, men for one-on-one sex. Moreno's lawyer provided a statement from a former intern who claimed he made the profile as part of a juvenile prank. After casting his vote in Florida with his wife Melania, the former president was asked about these controversial comments that he made Monday on a podcast blasting Democratic lawmakers.
I actually think they hate Israel. Any Jewish person that votes for Democrats hates their religion. They hate everything about Israel. And they should be ashamed of themselves, because Israel would be destroyed.
The former president did not back down from those comments yesterday.
I think that the Democrats have been very, very opposed to Jewish people. That's true, and to Israel. All you have to do is look at Senator Schumer. What he did with Israel is a disgrace.
That appeared to be a reference to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's floor speech last week, calling for new elections in Israel to replace Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Schumer yesterday was back on the Senate floor responding to what former President Trump said on the podcast Monday.
The former president's comments were utterly disgusting and a textbook example of the kind of anti-Semitism facing Jews, pushing the dangerous anti-Semitism trope of dual loyalty.
And we noted that Melania Trump made a rare appearance with her husband yesterday. Asked if she would be a more frequent presence on the campaign trail, she said coyly, stay tuned. Shani and Dan, back to you.
All right, we'll be watching. Robert, thank you very much.